Well, good morning, West Ham fans. Happy Thursday. Let's talk about Nicholas Fullkrug, shall we? Hope everyone is safe and well. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hammer's headlines later on for you transfer rumours. They're very much now going to be in full force, unfortunately, because we are 6-7 weeks until the transfer window opens, and there's no doubt we're going to be needing some reinforcements, some boosts, and one of them being arguably our forward line needs a bit of revitalisation, and we're going to talk about that in Hammer's headlines in a little bit more detail. But a report in the Evening Standard yesterday gave a bit more of a sort of timeline of Nicholas Fullkrug's injuries and why everything's just taken so long. And it's fascinating actually reading. I mean, you know, when we signed him, he was a Champions League finalist with Borussia Dortmund twice. He scored in the Euros and was probably one of the most eye-catching signings in the Premier League over the summer. I mean, literally, anyone I know who wasn't a West Ham fan, when we signed Nicholas Fullkrug, were like, good one. He's a good one. He's a really, really good one. But unfortunately, that hasn't materialised on the pitch. And that's why his prolonged Achilles tendon injury has been so frustrating. I mean, he's only played 63 minutes in the Premier League so far this season, or so far in his career. Now, to be honest, we could do with him. To be fair, I think just as another body, particularly, and I mean, we paid £27 million for him as well. Now, according to the report in the Standard, he's continuing to do has an individual training program, partly indoors and partly outdoors on the grass, with the West Ham medical team and physios during the international break, and obviously not involved in Germany international duties, as you can imagine. He was expected to be named in Lopetegui's squad for the Carabao Cup on my birthday, the 25th of September. While he'd come through training okay apparently the previous day, Lopetegui felt the striker was not ready for match minutes and so did not travel to Anfield. And then following the win when we beat Ipswich in October, he took to social media to say big win for the boys, big win at home, can't wait to be back. And it was like, okay. And then soon after that, Fullkrug's recovery suffered what Julian Lopetegui called in his press conference ahead of the Everton game as complications. And the West Ham medical team quickly began to realise his Achilles tendon injury was not healing on its own and would need specialist treatment. He's now missed 9 games in a row, with Mikel Antonio leading the line and Danny Ings coming off the bench to help out where he can. Now, it has been alleged in the article in the Standard that the medical team have apparently sought alternative remedies from those usually used to using such an injury, and Fullkrug has not trained with the team since October. 2 weeks ago, apparently he took a trip. We know he went to Germany for an assessment with a specialist, and while there, made a guest appearance on the German TV, of course. And then since returning back to London, he's apparently combined indoor training with some limited work on the grass at Rush Green, working very closely with the West Ham physio and fitness coaches. Now, because of that, and because of the unusual nature of the injury, it's apparently clear, and is clear, Julian didn't give a timeline, couldn't give a timeline. And apparently West Ham staff, the physios and the medical staff, are understood to be reluctant to put a time frame on his return, given their initial estimates were back in September proved to be highly inaccurate. And so the wait for the Folk carries on. Now, it's clear that, I really find it difficult when people blame the signing because of the injury. It's an unfortunate injury. Yes, it's an injury that could happen. Yes, he has had a series of injuries early on in his career, but in the last few years, there was nothing really. I'm not being funny. We signed fucking Kurt Zouma. Man only had one leg. We signed Cornet somehow as well. So it's a long and it's a real shame. There's reports that we were looking to move him on in January. That's apparently not the case. That was false rumours. But maybe the rumours that we don't want them are false rumours. We don't know. But it seems that there's definitely a question mark in terms of when he's likely. There was talk of maybe him being back for the Newcastle game, but again, we just don't know. We just don't know. But I thought the article was really interesting because it sort of laid it out chronologically. And when you look at it, and we've had injuries like before. I remember Aaron Cresswell when he banged his arse-bone on the post at London Stadium and was out for weeks with no one commenting. And it's those injuries where you don't necessarily know, where you're not getting a return date, the ones that are worrying, and obviously we are only 6-7 weeks until January. And it wouldn't be surprised at all looking at bringing in a forward. I mean, we've been linked with a lot. We've already in the same sort of, not mould, but the same sort of bulky lads, the likes of Zorloff on loan, the likes of Randall on loan, and various others. And it does seem that there is definitely a need to bring in another body. I mean, subsequently, obviously, the likes of Antonio and Danny Ings are out of contract in the summer. So it makes sense to maybe bring someone in on loan, maybe with an obligation or an option to buy an after the loan spell on a 6-month deal potentially. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Folk, is it really? Not at all. And it's not looking good for another one of our former players. Folk is not a former player, but it's not looking good for one of our former players. And that is Ben Rama, someone who was, West Ham fans were maybe a bit critical of getting rid of him, because ironically it's one of those times where we got rid of him and forward hours, and then we really needed people on the left-hand side. It's Sod's Law. It's like when we got rid of James Tompkins and we needed a right-back, really, and then we needed a centre-back as well at the same time. Now, he's been given, to give Timmy Steiden some props, getting rid of him, in hindsight, seems a very good deal in a roundabout way. Mohamed Tuchater reported via Twitter yesterday that Lyon want to sell Ben Rama in the January transfer window, despite only buying him from West Ham in the summer. The journalist revealed that the Algerian international was left out of the French club's derby against Saint Etienne on Sunday due to, in brackets, non-sporting reasons, with apparently the manager Pierre Sage, I was just trying to be fancy, probably Pierre Sage, sanctioning the move for him not to appear in the squad. Obviously, Lyon signed him initially on loan for about £5 million before forking out about another £12-13 million on top to make the deal permanently. While obviously that was considerably less than the £25 million we spent on him on loan, and then subsequently the following year buying him from Brentford. West Ham are entitled to 10% of any capital gains should Lyon sell him in the future. So I imagine whether that is for the value at 12.30 million, or whether that is the combined 17/18, I don't know. But we could get a little bunce maybe if he's sold. So yeah, just all fun and games when it comes to former West Ham players. Obviously, we spoke about the other day about Aguerd, who's apparently Real Madrid are interested in him. But he's playing very well, in all honesty, for Real Sociedad, and he's probably one of the most informed defenders in the league as well, as they beat Barcelona 1-0 at home over the weekend as well. So not good news for Folk, not good news for Benny. God dear, but it could help us out. Could get a little Bunsen burner for us for January, which is needed. But that's it, my friends. Just a little bit of morning news to eat with your breakfast, your bacon sarnies or your muesli. Don't know why those two were the options. Keep it on the channel. Haven't said it later on today. Talking about some of the players we've been linked with, some attacking players, some exciting players. One player, which I know Damien will be very happy that we're linked with, because he puts on every fucking post about who we should be going for. And until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, my friends, and come on, you bloody irons, come on.